May 22nd, 1980. On the cold, wind-whipped waters of Yellowstone Lake, a lone ranger pushed off in a canoe on a routine patrol. Hours later, his canoe was found, capsized on the shore, but the ranger was gone. Tonight we remember Duane McClure, a ranger, a brother, a man who vanished into the wild that he protected. Stay with me as we follow the facts and the questions that they leave behind. Yellowstone Lake, vast, high altitude, and deceptively calm. It can turn on a moment's notice. It is here, near West Thumb Bay, that the seasoned park ranger set out alone and into a mystery that the lake would keep. Duane McClure was a supervisory park ranger with the National Park Service. He had roughly 10 years of service with the park and was in his mid-30s when he vanished. He was a son and a brother, survived by his parents and 2 brothers. These are the human details that anchor the story, a real person, a family, colleagues who remember him. On May 22nd, 1980, Ranger McClure launched on a solo canoe patrol on Yellowstone Lake. Reports indicated he was on a patrol that included checking on a hibernating grizzly den. He was on a radio schedule and expected to check back in, but he did not respond. When he failed to return or answer radio calls, search operations were launched. Search teams found McClure's canoe, capsized and flooded. The canoe's presence told the story of sudden trouble, but the most troubling detail remained. His body was not found. The canoe was there, and the ranger was not. Official records list his end of watch as May 22nd, 1980. Memorial and administrative records indicate a coroner's inquest was held in early June, and he was later officially declared deceased. One listing shows the formal declaration date as June 9, 1981. Sources differ slightly on administrative dates. The facts of the disappearance do not. The canoe was recovered, but McClure was never located. To understand how a trained ranger could vanish so completely, we need to understand the lake. Yellowstone Lake sits at a high elevation. The water is cold year-round. The difference between remaining alive and succumbing to cold water shock can be measured in minutes, not hours. On a large open lake, sudden storms can whip wind into steep, hypothermia-inducing waves. Small canoes are vulnerable. When a canoe capsizes in those conditions, survival windows are very short. Search teams moved quickly. Shore parties, boats, radios, helicopters, combing the area where McLeod was expected. They recovered the canoe, but not the man. Cold water, shifting currents, and the sheer size of Yellowstone Lake make recoveries difficult, even with immediate action. The absence of remains made the case both a tragedy and, in some ways, an open question. When evidence is sparse, theory fills the silence. Here are the realistic possibilities of what happened to the ranger, and each should be labeled what it is, plausible but not proven. The first theory was a sudden storm, and the canoe capsized and led to him drowning. This is consistent with the capsized canoe and the lake's cold conditions, and it's the explanation most agencies give for similar tragedies. Second, a medical emergency while on the water. A heart attack or stroke could have incapacitated him, leaving him unable to steer or control the canoe. There's no documented evidence for this in public records, but it remains possible. Third is foul play. Some viewers will ask, there is no public investigation record to support foul play in McClure's disappearance. No arrest, no motive, no investigation. This possibility is fair, but without evidence, it is pure speculation that should not be treated as actual facts. Bodies in very cold, high-altitude lakes can behave differently than popular imagination would expect. Cold water slows decomposition. Submerged remains can become weighted by silt or become trapped in underwater structures. Scattered debris and shifting ice or silt can conceal remains for years. In short, recovery is not always as simple or immediate, no matter how hard the teams searched. Within the ranger community, loss is personal. Park services and law enforcement mark these sacrifices at memorials during Police Week. Duane McClure's name appears on the NPS memorial list and on law enforcement remembrance pages. Colleagues and later generations of rangers have left reflections and tributes. A note from lead ranger Matt Lyons in 2024 and other messages over the years show that McClure has not been forgotten. Factually, the outline is simple. A solo canoe patrol on May 22, 1980. A capsized canoe recovered. No body located. Official memorialization and the end of watch was recorded. The rest, the exact moments of how and why, remain with the lake. The lack of closure is painful for loved ones and colleagues. It's also a reminder that rangers accept risks every day, and the landscape they protect can be beautiful and lethal in one single breath. Duane McClure set out to protect a place of wonder and pay the ultimate price, doing what he loved. His canoe was found on Yellowstone's cold water, but he was not. No body, no final answer. Just a lake that keeps its last moments to itself. We remember him for not the questions that linger in the dark, but for the steady light that he carried into the unknown, for the tireless way he answered the call, walked the lonely paths, and stood watch when others slept. The mystery will whisper on, as mysteries do, but it's his service, his courage in the face of the wild, that shapes how we remember this story. If this episode touched you, help keep his memory bright. Like the video, subscribe for more investigations, and share this episode so others remember what duty looks like. And always remember, have respect for the places and people who keep our wild spaces safe.